She stopped at a light, and so I'm walking in that field behind the Lost River Drive-In. Julie said he was so creepy.
What's up, demons? It's your boy. That's right. It's Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, here to give you guys another either incredibly satisfying tier list or an incredibly infuriating one. When I sit down to record these, I never know where it's going to land for everyone. And that's kind of exciting, right? You know, it's fun. It's fun to sit down and go, hey guys, I want to let you in on some of my potentially awful takes or potentially great takes. That's what makes this exciting, makes the world go round. And you guys are probably blown away thinking, you've been pumping out these tier lists, but you've yet to do one ranking the looks of Michael Myers. You're a Halloween guy. I mean, you know, give y'all a quick peek if you're not familiar with my channel. I got my bedroom just covered in Halloween posters. So how have I not done a looks of Michael Myers one? Am I even a real Halloween fan? Well, no, I'm actually not, because I liked Halloween Ends. So I lost my fan card back in 2022. But if I can pretend to be a Halloween fan tonight for all of you guys, I would be honored to do so. And we're going to rank the looks of Michael Myers. This is exciting, right? Where, you know, how could this go wrong? This is going to be great. Everyone's going to agree. We're just going to be in lockstep and we're going to live in harmony. So let me share my screen, not my stream. We're not sharing streams here. And I want to show each and every one of you the tiers that I have created. So for the looks of Michael Myers, the tiers are as follows. The GOAT, which, I mean, come on. If you're familiar with the GOAT, you know exactly what that means. The greatest of all time. Obviously, there's not going to be just one that's in there because there's a few Myers looks that I think are absolutely peak. But the GOAT would simply just be, I think it's indisputably great. I don't have a complaint. Pure Evil, which would be not quite the GOAT, but really close. This thing is damn good. With a minor tweak here and there, it could have been one of the GOATs. Solid, right in the middle. Solid obviously means it's solid. I'm not in love with it, but I definitely don't hate it. Bargain bin, which means it's still worth a couple dollars, but it's not one I'm going to buy and display. And then looking a little crispy. And if you're familiar with that movie and that moment in that movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This would just be Michael Myers looking absolutely smacked, cracked, whatever the kids are saying these days. I don't know. Just garbage. He doesn't look good. And we're going to go in order of release because that is how this tier list was created. As you guys know, I'm not tech savvy, so I don't make these. I find ones that were pre-made on tiermaker.com. I look over them before I start recording to make sure it has everything that I need. Sometimes I miss some things, like how every movie got duplicated on one, but that's neither here nor there, guys. We're living in the present. Let's not stay in the past. And starting this off, we obviously have the look, the mask from the original Halloween, the one that started it all. And this is going to go into looking a little crispy. Come on. I can't even mess with you guys. The original Halloween's mask is the greatest mask in the franchise, I think, inarguably. Now, I've made the case over the years when it comes to like the first movie in a franchise or whatever, that just because something came first doesn't always mean it needs to be the best. However, when it comes to something like a mask, when you nail that mask, that becomes the blueprint for everything that comes after it. So specifically in this instance, I do feel like this kind of has to be the GOAT, or at least has to be in that same tier with your other favorites. Because every mask in this franchise since this one has been chasing this one. I don't need to give you guys a dissertation on how this mask was created. We all know, okay? You all watched those documentaries on the DVDs and Blu-rays over the years of the Halloween franchise. But to take something so common back then, you know, a Captain Kirk mask, and do what they did to it to make it what it became, just legendary. And the mask is clearly legendary. Michael Myers is an icon, and this specific look is iconic. So the mask from 1978's Halloween goes into the GOAT. And I just want to also say, it's not always just the mask. Sometimes it's how it's worn. Sometimes if it's aged. And I bring that up because now we're at Halloween 2 from 1981. And you're going to have people say, well, it's the same mask from 78, so it has to be in the GOAT, right? No, not to me it doesn't. It goes into pure evil. Now, hear me out here. Follow my reasoning. This is the same mask from that film. However, as Deborah Hill herself said, this sat in a box underneath a bed in a house where they smoked inside for like 3 years. They didn't take care of this thing. So by the time we got to 1981's Halloween 2, it wasn't looking the same. It was more yellow, and that makes sense. If you own any masks, you will know that over time, especially if you're not keeping them in like a sealed, temperature-controlled environment, they're going to age like that. Furthermore, Dick Warlock's head is not at all shaped like Nick Castle's is. And I have always felt like this mask on Warlock's head looks a little off. It's a good look. I still really, really dig the look of this, but it's not quite the same. His face seems like it's a little more round, a little more wide, and because of that, the mask doesn't fit quite the way I would like it to. So you have to add in the fact that there's wear and tear and age on this thing, and there's a different actor with a different sized head wearing it, and you end up in pure evil. I understand that some people might be like, how could you? Come on. All right. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers mask. One of 2 masks that we see in this film. Now, you guys have heard me over the years say that I think that this mask is, well, what do I call it? The finger in the booty mask. And, just look at him. Like, he looks surprised. He looks shocked. And, most people would if they got something in an area they weren't expecting it. And that's how Myers is in this movie. Now, I've heard all the excuses over the years. Oh, well, he got it from this convenience store. It's not going to look the same. That's kind of the point. It's supposed to look like a cheap knockoff. And I've maintained for years that is just a convenient way of making an excuse for a subpar mask. Let's just keep it real. It is a subpar mask. And we can find in-universe explanations for why that is the way it is. But you could have also just as easily made a mold that was similar to the original and not needed to explain it, and the fans would have totally accepted that. So I do feel like that's a bit lazy on some people's part. And I'm putting this in bargain bin. Because while I don't like this mask, and I do not think it is the absolute pits in this franchise. Trust me, we will get there. And I have to admit, being such a big Halloween fan, and Halloween 4 specifically being a movie that I remember watching on AMC over and over when I was a kid, every October after school in October, I ate this movie up. There's a little bit of bias there, like a little bit of nostalgia every time I see this mask on screen. So while I can admit I don't think this is a good mask, I can't say it's the absolute worst. So it goes into bargain bin, which I guess is kind of fitting, right? Because it's like kind of how Michael came across it. All right. Then we have the pink mask with the blonde hair from Halloween 4. The one shot that we get in this movie with this mask. Michael Myers, the Backstreet Boy, some might say. This is Nick Carter, Michael Myers. Shout out Backstreet Boys. Always a fan. 90s kid. This isn't looking a little crispy. I don't even know the argument you could make for this mask not being in the bottom tier. It has to be in the bottom tier. It's just, it doesn't even look like Michael Myers. I understand how this thing ended up on screen and why it looks the way it does. I get all that. Still, though, it should have never happened. Like this, we should not be talking about this mask ever in America in 2026. Let alone in 1988. Not even just America, across the world. all around the world. We shouldn't be talking about it, but we are because it's in the film for one shot. And it's really bad. It's really bad. Michael, he was at the time he was going through this like boy band phase where he thought he might want to go into that. And that was before boy bands were really popular. But it was quickly something that he stopped thinking about. It was a fleeting thought. And thank God it was. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, you guys are probably going, you got to be consistent here. You put 4 in bargain bin. You're right. So I put 5 in solid. Now, before you guys blow up on me, let me just say something. Objectively speaking, it's probably bargain bin. However, I do think it is also objectively a little bit better mask than 4. And my bias for my love of Halloween 5 plays a small factor in here why I give it the nod over 4. But there's something about this mask that I think makes it stand out to me in a good way over Halloween 4's. It's got this nose and this elongated neck and these like cheekbones. It's very, very structured. It looks very human, which to some people that might be a problem. You don't want your Myers mask to look that way. And hear me out. I'm not saying that this is how I want the Myers mask to look. But comparatively, I think it's an improvement. And for the tone of Halloween 5, it's an angrier mask. And I think it works. I personally would have wanted a better mold. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I don't think it's that bad. It's grown on me over the years. So I think it's solid. I do. We call that the Nick Cage mask, in case you guys weren't familiar, because it kind of looks like Nick Cage. And, that's a compliment. Nick Cage he's a legend, a living legend. So not long after Michael decided he didn't want to do the boy band thing, he wanted to be like Nick Cage. He got facial reconstructive surgery and, quickly went back. He decided it wasn't for him. Nick Cage has his thing and Michael has his thing. So up to this point now in 1989, Michael has had a lot of phases, and I think he's all the better for it personally. But with that being said, we get to Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And this mask is going into pure evil. Now, I know some people would put this probably into GOAT status because this is a fan favorite mask. And I love it too. I put it in pure evil. But I also think just comparatively, it gets points because you look at the 2 that came before it, they're nowhere near as good as this mask. Like, let's just be real. 5 and 4's masks, they don't hold a candle to Curse's mask. And whether you love or hate Curse, irrelevant. This is a pretty solid mold. And this is the first movie where you actually can start to get a little frustrated and go, okay, so you can do something similar. You can make a solid mask. So why haven't you been up to this point? And that's when I really started to notice it when I was going back through the franchise as a teenager. And I was like, well, this mask is pretty good. Why are 4 and 5's not? This is, I think, a mask that is perfect for this movie as well. Again, like 5's, it's less exaggerated in its features than 5's is, but it still has more definition to it. Whether that be a, bone structure, an angry look, and I think it fits Curse perfectly. So I don't know. I mean, whether you love or hate Curse, I think you have to admit the mask is pretty solid. And if nothing else, is way better than the previous few. Then we get the first mask in Halloween H2O, which is just a couple moments, but it is the Curse mask. And that goes into pure evil because it's the same mask. Now, you want my opinion? I think it should have just been this mask for the entire film. And I understand all of the issues. Oh, well, Stan Winston wanted this, and the studio had this feedback, and we got K and B, and we got it. It's just, or not Stan Winston. Sorry, Steve Miner with the Stan Winston mask. It just got way too convoluted, way too busy, way too much going on. We really overthought this. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the best path. And the path the path of least resistance here was just sticking with the mask from the previous movie. And of course, they thought about it because it's in the opening of the movie. Then they were like, but wait. So not much more to say because it's the same mask as 6, but I really, really dig this mask. Then we get the K&B mask. Looking a little crispy. I mean, this is a bad mask. It's a really bad mask. I don't even know how they saw dailies of this thing. Just one bit of dailies and went, you know what? That's Michael Myers. Because it's not at all. This mask is super round. No facial features whatsoever. Completely wide open eye holes to where you can just see Michael Myers' eyes. Kind of looks like a clown. Kind of looks like makeup. It's really, really weird. It's a really bad mask. And I think the most frustrating thing about this mask is that even though they changed it multiple times throughout production, this thing still shows up in multiple shots in Halloween H2O. Now, they tried to be creative with it in the editing room where it was like, oh, this is a shot where it's kind of like in the background. You can't really notice it. I notice it because I'm that kind of guy. And it's just a bad mask. John Carl Buechler was a legend in his own right. I don't understand what the hell this is. So it looks a little crispy. I mean, it just does. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Everybody's favorite. And how couldn't it be? The CGI mask from Halloween H2O. Looking a little crispy. I don't think I really need to explain this. Like, I think most people are like, yeah, that's looking a little crispy. That's a bad mask. But if you did want me to explain it some, I'm not going to. Just look at it. Just look at that mask or that, CGI abomination, creation, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's horrible. I understand. We're up against it with our schedule. We have to do a mask as a stand-in this one moment. No, you don't. Just don't even have this moment be in the film. This thing is awful, and it is the worst mask in the Halloween franchise. And I even struggle to say that because it's not a real mask. It's a CGI creation, but it's terrible. Then you've got the Stan Winston mask from Halloween H2O. And I think that this one is... No, it's not looking a little crispy. Oh, man. Part of me wants to say solid. Part of me wants to say bargain bin. I don't know where I'm going here. I'll say solid. I'm feeling generous tonight. Now, let me just say something. The mold, the sculpt itself of this mask, I do think is largely fine. I don't think there's anything really obnoxiously wrong with the shape of it, how it fits Chris Duran's face. My issue with this mask is the eyes. Being able to see Michael's eyes so clearly has always been a problem to me because it was never supposed to be that way. And furthermore, in this movie, Chris Durand acts with his eyes. Now, if you were an actor in a role, like John's role or Laurie's role, that makes sense. You act with your eyes. You don't as Michael Myers. But I don't necessarily know if I can hold it against the guy because this was the mask he was given to wear. So, you can't really shy away from that because it's out of your control. So I'll say solid, but there are days where I say it's bargain bin. Halloween Resurrection. I will say solid as well. And again, I'm feeling generous here. Look, Resurrection's mask isn't terrible. Now, when it's on Busta Rhymes' head, oh, it is. Oh, well, I guess we're going to get there. I've always called this like the emo Myers mask. It looks like he's wearing like eyeliner and some lipstick, some like purple lipstick. He just got back from Warped Tour. Just saw My Chemical Romance, and he's really feeling himself. Michael now in the early 2000s, after his boy band phase and his Nick Cage phase, he really wanted to see what the whole the hoopla was about the emo phase. Now quickly realized it wasn't him, and thankfully so. It's not a great mask, but it's not terrible. I actually think the sculpt is pretty good. And I think in lighting this sometimes, it's decent. Like, I don't walk away from Resurrection being like, oh, what an awful, terrible, offensive mask. No, I really don't. I think it's fine. But then we get here when it's on Busta and it's looking a little crispy. And look, I don't know if this is a situation like Dick Warlock with Halloween 2, where it fits the different actor's head differently. Personally, I don't know if that's the case because I'm pretty sure Resurrection only had one mask. So I do think that's the case. I'm sorry. My brain is fried, guys. I worked all day today. So like part of me is like, I think it fits really weird on Busta. I could be wrong though. It could be a different mask, and it kind of does look different. But either way, whether it's a different mask or it fits the actor's face differently, it doesn't look good at all. It looks terrible. And it's kind of fitting that it would go into looking a little crispy because it's crispy. Okay, the mask from the end of Halloween Resurrection, where Michael Myers is in fact looking a little crispy. This one I'm actually going to put in solid as well. It is just the Resurrection mask, obviously melted, burned up. And I got to be honest with you guys, I think it kind of looks cool. And as you're going to see as we get into this tier list, I kind of like the burned and weathered and aged looks of the Myers masks, like I always have. There's just something about it that I think is really unique. And this is no exception. I think that this looks pretty cool. There's something about thinking of that latex being like fused with a face after like melting that is just like, it's a wild thought. Like it's wild to think about. But it kind of looks cool. So I'll say it's solid. I can't really knock it. I actually think it's pretty solid. All right. The mask from Rob Zombie's Halloween. The sculpt from the beginning of the movie. Child Myers. This is going into pure evil. This is a great sculpt. And I don't think you'll get many people that disagree with that. I mean, it genuinely is a great sculpt. This is probably the closest they've come at this point in 2007 to replicating the look from the original. It doesn't look exactly the same, but it looks pretty damn close. It looks kind of weird at times on Dave Fairch's head. Like, I think most of us can agree with that. But the mask itself is really, really solid. Wayne Toth did a bang-up job here. So, yeah, I have to put this in pure evil. I think that this is damn good. I really, really do. But it's not the best version of this mask, in my opinion. And that's where we get to the adult Myers look in Rob Zombie's Halloween. The weathered look, the aged look. And with that, I'm going all the way up into GOAT. Look, Rob Zombie's Halloween is a movie that I have a plethora of issues with. And I have a lot of love for as well. All that being the case, though, this weathered mask, the first time we'd seen it in the franchise, frankly, because obviously we know Halloween 2018 would do it years later. just incredible. I mean, Wayne Toth, a savant, a maestro, a mastermind, an evil genius. The way it fits on Tyler Mane as well, it's just, this thing is mean. This thing is ferocious. I love this mask. I absolutely love this mask. And I'd say, yeah, at this point, this was the best mask since the original film. Regardless of your thoughts on the film itself, that's a great mask. Like, it really, really is. And this was the first time we really had some continuity, you know, because you would have earlier movies in the series where, like Halloween 2, for example, it's the same mask, but obviously it's supposed to take place that same night. You can't really age it up and weather it. This one they could, and they had to. And we finally got to see that. Okay, what would this mask look like 2 decades later? And I think that's awesome. This is a great mask. Probably my first really controversial take here will be the Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 mask. And you guys know me. I'm nothing if not controversial. And that's going to go into the GOAT. I love this mask as well. It's largely the same sculpt as the mask from Rob Zombie's Halloween. The difference here is obviously there are portions missing on the right side of it after the bullet at the end of that film. And then, you know, midway through this movie or so, a giant chunk gets ripped off and Michael has an eye exposed for like the rest of the movie. I think it's actually kind of a cool look because here's the thing. Tyler Mane doesn't accentuate that, you know, after it's there. You don't really you see his eye and his eyes, but he doesn't really act with them. They're just there. He gives that stoic, stone cold look consistently throughout this film. Whereas I think Durand in H2O utilized his eyes, and that's just not what you do with Myers. This is fantastic. I love this thing. I have always wanted a sculpt of this that looks just like this film. You've seen the ones you can buy online that people will charge ridiculous amounts of money for that really just don't look like the movie sculpt at all. And I'm never going to do that. If I'm going to get this mask, and I eventually will, it's going to be movie quality. All right. And wow, I mean, I was just talking about it, and here it is. And I'm putting this in the GOAT as well. It's the same. It's the one I just talked about after a section of the mask is ripped off at the end of the movie. Because you have to take it in context of the film. You know, in universe, this works with this Myers just visually, narratively, and it's the unraveling in these movies of the psyche of these characters. Also in Halloween 2, you're getting the further unraveling and disheveling of Michael Myers himself. And so I think it's perfect. I don't know. Again, I'm a mark for Halloween 2. You guys know that. But I do feel like I'm making some sense here. Not a ton, maybe, but some. Halloween 2018's mask. I just want to first start off by giving a huge shout out to Chris Nelson. I think most people agree, and obviously the accolades this man has would further back that up. This guy is incredible at what he does. Genuinely fantastic makeup artist. And I remember the first time a lot of us saw that mask for 2018, we were like, oh, that's a damn good mask. As the years have gone on, though, I feel like I personally might have overrated it a little bit. It's a good mask. It is definitely a good mask. Some might argue a great mask. But I don't think it's quite GOAT status. So I'm going to put the mask in pure evil. And again, I think, it could have something to do with the actor wearing it. But for me personally, I think it's more so, I think they kind of overthought the weathered look here. It's still largely good. But, part of me wonders if it's a little overdone. Whereas Rob Zombie's Halloween seemed like it was just enough. Maybe that's nostalgia talking. I don't know. For some of you guys sitting here, understand I am not at all disparaging this mask. It is a great mask, but I don't think it's quite GOAT level. I just don't. But I do think it's pure evil. Halloween Kills. Dude, GOAT. GOATed. I love this mask so much. Like, I talked about it earlier with the End of Resurrections mask, the burnt look. Not only is Kill's mask burnt, but there's like blood on it. You can tell that at this point, Michael Myers has seen some shit, okay? And I love this thing. I mean, I really, really do. I love this thing. Again, fits perfectly in this film after everything he went through in the last film and that he goes through throughout this film. The mask gets better as this movie goes on. I feel like all that wear and tear really pays off in this movie aesthetically. And yeah, I'm a big, big fan of this mask. Big fan. I definitely think this is GOAT status. Definitely. Now we've got the flashback mask from Halloween Kills that for years many people have just held in such high regard. And I think it's just solid. And I think it's just solid because, I mean, guys, take off your rose-colored glasses for a second and just look at this mask a little more critically in comparison to the original Halloween's mask. And can you honestly, like, truthfully tell me that that looks like the same mask? That is the same night? Because I got to be honest with you guys, I can't. This is another instance where I feel like they overthought it a little bit. They did a little too much. It's never really worked for me. I don't think it's a bad mask. Again, when you have a talented, effective makeup artist like Chris Nelson doing this, making these masks, they're going to be more than competent. But the fact that this is supposed to be that same night, that same mask from that original film, it just doesn't look like it to me. I just don't buy it personally. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody else agrees, and I am the outsider here. I don't know. But that's just kind of where I sit with it. Halloween Ends mask. I'm going to put this in pure evil. I don't think it's quite as good as Kill's mask. And that might surprise some people because it is largely the same mask. The difference here is obviously there's like some mold to it in like the hair and on the side of the face. And that's a really cool look. It definitely is. But I don't know. There's just something about this mask. I don't feel like it stands out as much. And some of you might go, well, that's because Michael's not even in the movie. No, it's not that. It's more so I just think that it's very muted, it seems, whereas in Halloween Kills, the mask itself felt like a character. And in Ends, it does in the sense that, like, oh, Corey puts it on. I get all that. But there's just something about it. I just don't think it's goated. I think it's pure evil. I do. I think it's a rung below. And then whatever this is, I don't know. It's the mask from Curse. I would put it in pure evil. This is just a duplicate. I mean, I could be wrong that they could have used two masks on Curse. Maybe they did, and maybe I am wrong. But either way, looks the same. Yeah, I mean, it's pure evil. So what do you say? But there you guys have it. There is the tier list for the masks of Michael Myers over nearly 50 decades of 50. Holy shit. 5 decades of slashing, 50 years. I think that there are 4 movies in the franchise where it is a genuinely fantastic mask that I wouldn't change a thing about. I think that there are, 5 movies in the franchise where I think the mask is almost perfect. I think that there are 3 movies in the franchise where I feel like The Mask is solid. There's 1 movie in the franchise where I feel like it's bargain bin. And there's also 3 movies represented where I think it's terrible. And that's just kind of where I land with it. Again, I'm not saying I'm right. This is just my opinion. And I've been known to have some wild opinions over the years. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with this ranking, or do you think, hey, no, this tier list is way off. This match should be here and this one should be there? Whatever it is, please let me know. Enlighten me. I am open to civil discourse about this. I am. I want to hear what you guys have to say. At the end of the day, just know that this is just my tier list. It doesn't have to be yours, but I'd love to know what yours would be. So please comment down below. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Come on. Takes a half a second. Hover your finger over there. Click it. There you go. Hit the bell for notifications if you want to. I upload like pretty much every day because, trying to quit my job. So thank you so much for watching this video. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive.